take it out too soon. You want that dye to penetrate the fiber. So probably going to leave it in there for 2-3 minutes. Now, if you're going to use burlap in your suit, you got to understand this stuff is extremely flammable. If you have a full suit of this stuff on and you get near a fire, you're going to go up. So you have to use fire retardant if you're going to use burlap. Even the stuff that you buy already strung, you're going to want to put a fire retardant application on it. You're going to tie in your burlap, you're going to have your suit all ready to go, and then at that point you're going to fire retard it. You can get it from Camouflage Systems. They have a bag that's 2 applications for $10, and it's the cheapest, most effective way to go. Because if you're going to be having burlap in your suit, you are a walking time bomb. So here's your burlap on fire. You see it's going up pretty quick. You don't want to have the sucker on and be struggling to get it off and have your suit hook up on you and not be able to get off. This stuff's going. We're just about done. And this looks a little dark, but when it dries out it's going to lighten a little bit. See, I got here a nice green. It's kind of a blend between like a leaf green and an olive drab. We're going to look it up against this stuff. This is stuff you buy. This is an olive drab. Or this is an olive drab. This is like a forest green. And you can see the sample that we just dyed is right there. So you're going to wait for this stuff to dry out. And then once it's dry, you're going to cut it into strips and tie in the strips, or you're going to de-string it. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So when you're going to de-string, you're going to cut your burlap. This has already been dyed, as you can see. I'm cutting off the edges because the edges are sewn. You're going to want a loose piece of material to de-string. So once you get your material, it's all been dyed, it's all ready to go, you start individually pulling out the strings. You can see that you got anchor each side. You got to pull and place them down, pull and place, pull and place. So you can see this is a bit time consuming, but if you get a good head of steam going. So I've de-strung this, stuff's all ready to go. You just divide and tie it into your suit. Okay, so what we've got is our mesh material, and we are cutting it into 14-inch lengths across the whole width. And since you don't want to cut your leaves individually, because you'd go insane, we've taken our 14-inch pieces and we're going to just layer them on top of each other. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to do the 3-inch widths. So with all these together, and hopefully you've got scissors that can go for it, I'm going to cut. And you want these as perfectly rectangular as possible, because once you cut it, you're going to pick it up, you're going to double it over so that all the sides are flush. You're going to cut your excess so they're all pretty much on the same page. For your leaves, you cut triangles. And you work along the edges, like that. Pretty much all the way to the bend point. Reverse. And cut the other side. You don't have to be exact, but you're going to want a jagged edge. You just don't want square blocks for your camouflage. Because if you have jagged edges, your material is going to have better blending properties. So now, I've got about 20 leaves done. And once I take the leaf, each individual leaf is going to be tied into your netting. And when you tie it in, what you're going to want to do is give it a twist. Because when you give it a twist, it kind of has a structure to it where the leaf actually pops out a bit. Now with normal 3D camouflage, they just sew straight across, and then you've got this limp leaf that just kind of hangs there on the side, and it doesn't have any type of bushing qualities. So once again, you want to give it a twist and then tie it in, and all of a sudden you've got leaves that kind of stick out. Here we have our 3/4 netting. We have our pattern right here, which is 2 feet high, 20 inches wide at the base, and it kind of curves in to the neck area, which is 13.5 inches, and rounds off at the top, and once again it's 2 feet high. So you're going to take the netting that we bought from the store. This is the same 3/4 inch netting that we're using for pretty much everything. And I've got 2 plies of it right here. One's going to be the front and one's going to be the back. With your handy dandy scissors, you just cut along your pattern. Ta-da! So you're going to cut 2 of these suckers. Make sure your netting kind of rests kind of flat. This stuff expands and contracts. It's kind of hard to get a bead on it because you cut a pattern when it's contracted, and then all of a sudden when you wear it, it's extremely wide. Also, if you cut it and it's too far stretched, and when you actually wear it, it cinches down on you and it's too tight. So try and get it so that the squares in the mesh are not wide and they're not condensed. They're kind of at this kind of resting size right here. Again, I'm going to cut the second piece from the netting. So with these 2 pieces, you now got to combine them. Lay them on top of each other so they're flush. And to combine these suckers by tying burlap in around the edges, connecting the netting by tying through both pieces and then just doing a simple overhand knot. Go to about maybe here. So you're going to want this flap open. Got it. Before we start tying the front side, Bruce is going to take off his glasses and we're going to try it on real quick. Now he's legally blind. So with this in place, we're going to delineate where his eyes are because we're not going to want to tie camouflage into the eye area. So what I'm going to do is take this camouflage right here and place it right between his eyes. So that when he continues tying, he'll know not to tie camouflage in this area. There are some holes here, so we might want to tie a little more camouflage. Grab a piece. I'm going to thread in some synthetic. Alright, Bruce. So Bruce is going to tie in his camouflage. He's going to put the majority on the top part because you want a nice bushy top head. And what we're doing again is we're going to give it a little twist in the middle and then do our overhand knot. Once again, that twisting action is going to kind of keep your leaves a little more rigid. Going to give a little more structure. Also, you don't want to tie the netting holes together. You only want to take one and tie it to that. If you take two and tie it to two, all of a sudden you're cinching these things together, and you're changing the whole structure of your headgear.